Welcome to another one of our SAP Concur Tips and Tricks podcast series. This podcast series is designed to impart new knowledge in a short space of time. So hopefully you will be walking away after listening to this podcast with at least some new information you can take back to your organization that might help optimize the use of your SAP Concur platform. Today's theme of the features or tips and tricks I'll be sharing today is around supporting your organization during a growth mode, or what we like calling spurring sustainable growth. So we will be looking at 10 tips and tricks that are associated to different features and functionalities on the Concur platform that will support your organization while they're in a growth mode. Without further ado, let us begin. So the first thing I want to talk to you today about is obviously business changes. You have a dedicated client success manager and a number of other contacts within Concur that will be able to talk to you, provide best practice advice, but also they will provide you actually with a document called Change Management Activities Guide. This is something we will typically offer to customers at the beginning of their journey when they're just about to implement and deploy Concur. But customers that go and expand in different markets, different geographies, they often need this too. Not only we have gone through the global expansions of hundreds and hundreds of customers, we have looked into their finance systems requirements, into their users' data that might need changing, and therefore different workflows, different T&E policies. So there's a lot that typically we talk about our customers when they are considering expanding. So when you think of these things, don't forget that there is another resource within Concur that can talk to you about this. We can always point out to maybe possible pitfalls along the way and just making sure that we know how to make this expansion project a success. So that's my first tip. My second tip is about using your data insights and our reporting tool. I'm not going to go into individual dashboards and reports. I talk a lot about them in the other podcasts. All I'm going to say today is ask your client success manager to provide you with a document called SAP Concur Optimization, Best Reports to Track Business Metrics. It's a document. It contains the best reports to track business metrics. It will show you how to use them, what best practice use of that data looks like, and what kind of action items you can take based on what the data says. I think ultimately what I'm trying to say is, if you are looking at the data you have in Concur, treat it as an insight. What does the data say, as opposed to just, right, well, can I do something with it? Can I take actions based on the data I'm seeing? If you're not well versed on our reporting tool, reach out to us. We will guide you through not only sharing a best practice document, but we will be able to guide you and train you on the tool. Now, the next tip I want to talk to you about is some best practices around global deployment. And one of the first things that we will typically ask you to consider is, will you be having a global or regional T&E framework? One global T&E ecosystem will actually drive standardization across the board. Majority of customers we are talking to, they will be asking, they want to standardize processes, tools, policies, rules across multiple countries. From a product perspective, that is the best practice. But it is up to you and our customers to decide that maybe actually each country is going to have its own configuration and each country is going to have its own policy. We can accommodate, we can scale together. But it is important for you from day one to consider, am I going for across the board standardization, or am I going for regional adaptation? Both of them are going to drive different kind of approach to the whole project and expansion. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is multi-jurisdiction tax exposure. So, as you know, obviously governments, state, federal, any country, most governments are actually looking at sort of increasing revenues from sometimes non-domestic companies, travelers, people doing business. And one of the best tips I can share with you is going to our App Center, and you will find number of partners. So one of them particularly, such as EY or Monaeo, these guys are actually able to analyze travel expenses in real time, and in fact guide our customers on their tax exposures in different jurisdictions. So they will be able to manage that entire process. They will be able to customize your thresholds on spend and how that leaves you exposed to their tax and audit. So there is a lot to understand when it comes to foreign jurisdictions, and rather than having to find your own resource or expand your current teams to actually accommodate knowledge from multiple jurisdictions, you can actually work with one of our partners, and they will plug in their app into your Concur platform, and they will be able to analyze the data and notice where you're exposed to audit when you're abroad. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is ground transportation. It's an interesting one because ground transportation, such as limos and taxis, they sometimes get overlooked from a perspective compared to air. Compared to big ticket items, air and hotels. So one of the things that most of our customers have done is pretty much when they look at different ground transportation spend, they realize they spend quite a lot of money. But they can consolidate all of that spend and make sure they spend with certain supplier. On Concur Travel, what our customers can do is actually link to one of our ground connectors. This will lead you to train content. Or you can look at our App Center partners and link your expense tool with a Uber or Lyft and have a Uber for Business account. And in fact, save some cost there. Apparently, taking an Uber is on average £9 cheaper than taking a normal cab. Then the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is safety communication tools. Obviously, all of our companies do have duty of care. And ideally nowadays we will have a mobile app or any easy tool where our employees can maybe just check in case of any emergencies. So it could be, there are plenty apps and good tools out there to enable organization for duty of care. And maybe SAP Concur's locate and active monitoring service might be the right one for you. But if you're thinking along the lines of having systems or having a technology to support your duty of care, you might want to talk to us as well. Now, I'm going to go back to the reporting side of things. Again, I'm not going to be talking about a specific tool, but there is a feature that I would recommend you sort of take advantage of. You could build and schedule a report to be running at the beginning of every month or at the first of every month with all of your spend data for last month. In your report studio, so what I want to bring your attention to is you have a reporting tool and you also have a report writing tool. So it's called Report Studio. You can go in, you can write or edit existing reports, build your own, get a reporting expert from Concur that might help you navigate all of that. And what we have advised some of our customers, and they have found it quite useful, is when they're whether they're controlling their cost and looking for minimizing some of their spend, or they're on the other spectrum looking to grow, looking at data, at important insights that proactively come their way at a specific time of the month, accurately, giving the data that I've been asking for without me having to ask for it, is quite handy when it comes to decision making. So when you're in your reporting tool, look at, for example, apply a filter last month on the send for payment date. So just look at all these data points that you have in the reporting tool that will come in handy. Schedule the report. You don't ever have to go back in. Let it come to you in an email. Now, maybe you need more support, and no wonder you need, like, making the most or optimizing your Concur platform or any platform for that matter it could be a little overwhelming, especially if you're managing multiple country deployments and global users, global travelers, global policies. Besides you taking advantage of, obviously, some of our complementary training toolkits, our Concur training website, your client success manager, we actually do have customized learning services. Feel free to email training@concur.com and you will get a quote for whatever kind of training you might need that's more specific to you. Another service that I have found serves customers, particularly when they expand into more than one country, is service administration. This is like an extension of our account management function. They're technical experts. They will walk our customers through our product release notes. They will adapt and configure and update the site based on the new features. So they will do a lot of consulting and a lot of technical work on your site as you grow, as you need, and as your requirements evolve. It can be daunting for a single administrator to manage that entire platform, but we do have the resources that can come and we can dedicate them to your account. Another one is our Consultative intelligence service. We talked a lot about reporting. We can definitely give you plenty of reporting guidance, but if you come to a point where you're like, I don't have the time and no longer the expertise for more complex reporting, then look at our Consultative intelligence service. Our reporting experts will not only build dashboards and reports for you, but these guys actually share best practice reports on, for example, what's the most popular request this quarter? What are other companies in your industry looking at? They're quite cool stuff you can learn from our experts that end up working with hundreds of other customers. And well, let's park our additional support there. The most important thing is that you are aware it is there. I'm going to go back now to something small and easy you can do as an administrator, regardless how big or small your Concur platform is. And that is user import. So we have customers that have 10, 20 users on their Concur platform and customers that have thousands of them. One of the easiest way to manage user information is use our user import feature. There is a file you can not only use to bulk upload employee information in Concur, but bulk update. It might be that you have a new manager, new approver of a team. Get that original import file you used and just edit and update their approver and bulk update everything in Concur. So you don't have to bother with manual editing of data. I know if it's one user, you can easily go into the setup, find the user profile, change something. But if you have more than a few users, then my advice is use the import file. Especially if you expand into a new country, you definitely want to be using more of an import functionality. And the last thing I want to talk to you today about, and this is something we talk to customers a lot, that's executive sponsorship. One tip is keep providing your executive sponsors with reports on your related to efficiencies, related to cost savings. Keep them engaged. Keep them engaged in this project, and they will not only help you with the user adoption, they will help you with policy adjustments, but they will actually anticipate future organizational growth, and they will be your allies. Without the executive sponsorship, it will be a bit tougher to bring change, particularly to new market, new users. So yeah, keep your executive sponsors on your side. And definitely keep your client success manager in SAP Concur in regular contact with you, because these guys will know pretty much a lot when it comes to whether you're expanding, whether you're just optimizing the platform, or whether you just want to learn new features that can help a specific requirement that has popped up. So that's all from me today. I hope you learned something new. Whatever you need, obviously, reach out to us. Thank you for your time and take care.